The withdrawal form was on the desk in front of me, and my hand was already reaching for it when I heard my own dead heartbeat start up again, and understood I had been given the one thing the dying never get: a second copy of the day. One breath, I was in a bed in a ward I could not afford, 41 years old and out of time, and the next, I was 26 and standing in Vera Nash's bright office on the fourth floor, with the morning sun coming through the blinds, and my stepmother saying, in that lovely low voice she used for difficult kindness, "Just the top line, Billy, and the date. Nobody is taking anything from you. Sonny simply needs it more this year, and you have your whole life." In my last life, I signed. I signed because I was 26 and grateful, and had spent 11 years being told I was lucky this family took me in at all. That form gave away the cardiothoracic fellowship I had earned, and within 4 years, Sonny Nash was the department's rising name, and I was doing locum shifts in 3 counties, and by 34, I was out of medicine entirely. And I died at 41 in a public ward with my mother's scrub cap in a bag under the bed. I know exactly what that pen costs. So this time I set it down on the blotter, gently, and I said, "No. And I'd like the offer confirmed in writing to the college by Friday, please, since you're the one who countersigns." Vera's beautiful, calm face did not change at all, which was how I knew, in this life the way I never let myself know in the last, that I had just declared war on the most patient woman in that hospital. Sunny recovered first because Sunny always recovered first. She had been in the corner chair pretending not to listen, and she was across the room in 3 steps with her eyes already wet. "Billy, look at me. This isn't about the job." It was entirely about the job. "It's just, you know the year I've had, and I told Mom not to ask you. I said Billy will feel obligated, and I would rather die than make you feel obligated." 11 years of that voice had trained every nerve in my body to reach across and fix it. I watched the reflex rise and I let it pass through like a cramp. "You didn't tell her not to ask me," I said. "You're standing in her office at 8 in the morning on the day the form is due. That isn't a coincidence, Sonny. That's a schedule." And her mouth did a small, unlovely thing that nobody else in the room caught, because nobody else had watched her do it across a lifetime and then across a second one. Here is what they had taken, itemized, since nobody in that family ever wanted it itemized. My mother died when I was 15, and my father married Vera Nash within the year. And Vera was warm and organized, and told everyone at the wedding that she had 2 daughters now, and the room adored her for it. There was the year I got my exam results, the best in my school, and my father was not at the presentation because Sonny had a dental appointment, and Vera posted a photograph of Sonny in the chair captioned, "So proud of my brave girl." There was the medical school interview I nearly missed because the letter sat in the hall table drawer for 9 days. And when I found it, Vera said gently that she must have tidied it away and cried a little. And my father comforted her while I ran for a train. And there was my mother's scrub cap, the one she sewed herself with the little pattern of blue anchors, which went missing from my room in my 3rd year, and which I found 4 years later in my last life in a box in Vera's garage, folded, kept, not thrown out. That is the part I could never explain to anybody. She had not needed it. She had simply not wanted me to have it. And in the letter, I was not supposed to read for another 9 years. The one Vera wrote to the college in my last life. The one I only saw at 35 when a friend on the committee showed me my stepmother had written that Wilhelmina had withdrawn on grounds of personal instability following bereavement and had signed it and dated it the 11th of June, which was 2 days before I signed anything at all. That was the thing I woke up holding, not a power exactly. Just one date from one letter 9 years early. They pivoted inside a week. And they pivoted hard because the patient ones always feel the floor move first. Vera did not argue with me again. She simply began, in her kind way, to be concerned about me in front of other people. A word to the rota coordinator about my sleep. A word to my supervisor about the anniversary of my mother's death being a difficult time. Nothing accusatory, nothing you could point at, all of it warm. And by the end of the month, there was a soft gray cloud around my name in that building that I could feel in every corridor. Thank you for listening to Channel Crystal Novel. Then came the part that actually hurt, and I am going to be honest about it because a version of this where I always say the perfect thing is a lie. Vera came to my flat on the Sunday, alone, no Sunny, and she sat on my sofa and said, "I have never asked you for a single thing in 11 years. I took a 15-year-old girl who would not speak, who would not eat, whose father did not know what to do with her, and I made a home. I sat outside your door at night. You do not remember that because you were not able to." She let it sit. So when I ask for 1 year, for my own child, and you look at me as if I am a thief, it breaks something in me. And it landed, all of it, because it was true. She had sat outside my door. I remembered the strip of light. There is a particular loneliness in being the only person who knows that the woman who kept you alive at 15 has been quietly billing you for it ever since, in installments, forever, at an interest rate no one else can see. I let myself feel it. Then I went and got the college's file. Any candidate may request their own record, and I requested mine, and I requested it in writing with the solicitor's letterhead so that nobody could tidy it away. And what came back was 6 years of selection committee minutes. In 4 of those 6 years, the cardiothoracic slot had gone to a Nash or a Nash's godchild. And in 3 of those years, the runner-up had withdrawn late. And in 2 of those, the withdrawal letter had been signed not by the candidate, but by the departmental countersignatory on grounds of personal difficulty. And one of those 2 runners-up was a woman called Priya Raman, who had left medicine in the year 16 and now taught biology in a comprehensive and had never in her life been told why. I rang her. She listened without saying anything for 4 minutes, and then she said, in a voice that had rust on it, "I always thought I did something." I said, "You didn't. She just needed the slot." The appointment dinner was the last week of June, and it was where Vera meant to finish me, and it was where I let her. She stood up with a glass to introduce the year's fellow, and Sunny arranged herself to be looked at. And I stood up before Vera reached the name and asked politely for 2 minutes on a point of record. Then I read out the withdrawal letter from the year 16, and the date on it, and then Priya Raman's own signature from her application file beside it on the screen. And the 2 did not match in any particular. And Priya was standing at the back of that room because I had bought her a train ticket. And Deke, Sunny's husband, who had never in his life had a thought that did not exit through his mouth, said loudly to Vera, "You said the old ones were shredded." 9 words. The room did the arithmetic together. Sunny turned to her mother with her whole face open and said, "You told me Billy withdrew." And Vera said the only thing she said after the screen went up, in the flat tone you would use to correct a spelling error. "The department has always been managed for the department's benefit," which is a confession of 6 years, delivered by the most careful woman in the building, because the truly cold ones never fear the room. They only forget it is there. The General Medical Council took 14 months, and Vera Nash was struck off at the end of them. The Trust's own review reached the year 11 before it stopped. Priya Raman's withdrawal was formally vacated, which does not give a person 9 years back, but does mean her mother finally believed her. Sunny kept her license and lost the department, and I am told she works in a private clinic now and is very good at the parts of medicine that involve being liked. My father did not speak to me for a year, and then rang on a Tuesday and said, "I cannot find a single time I asked you anything." And I said that was accurate. And he has rung every Tuesday since, which is not forgiveness, but is at least attendance. Vera tried once on the steps, and she used the softest thing she had. "I raised you," she said. And I said, "You housed me. Then you invoiced me for 11 years and called it love. Send the bill to somebody who never learned to read one." I did the fellowship. I run the unit now. Priya sat her return to practice exams at 43 and failed the first one and passed the second. And she is on my team, and she is a better clinician than I will ever be. And she still teaches on Thursdays because she says the sixth formers keep her honest. My mother's scrub cap came back to me in a box with the rest of it. And I do not wear it because it is 30 years old and it would not survive. But it hangs in my office where the new fellows can see it, and